I'm here at the offsite garden. It's only taken me 2 weeks to come back after my last video. There was just lots going on at home and things that need to be done. What are we doing today, Maureen? Well, looking after my mom, but right now I've got 2 hours to come and do some cleaning. And so that's what we're doing today. Last time, we were talking about, turning this first row into more perennials and flowers. And so from here, what I'm needing to do is to start just picking up things and getting things tidied up, like taking all the dead weeds and then putting them into the compost. But the problem is that when I got here, I realized I should have a wagon because that would be less trips because I could just put everything in the wagon. Oh, Maureen. And to pick up the garden cloth, there's a bunch of it over there. I realized as I was driving out that it would have been a really good idea to bring pegs because I could actually peg some of it back down if I don't have any of the stakes here. Here is where I started my compost bin. What I'm thinking is because there is no extra foliage, I'm going to bring out some pallets and I'm going to actually just make a U-shaped structure. I probably would make it double wide, so just to have something on this side, 2 in the back, and then 1 on this side, and just simple screws to screw it together, and then only put the compost on the one side to be able to turn it over, because when it comes to big giant compost bins, Mama does not turn her stuff over at all. So I think that's going to be a thing to do out here. So where to start? I think the easiest one will be the corn. Because the tomatoes all have tomato hooks on them, so I have to either just rip really hard or I have to undo them all. So I'm gonna probably I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. We have had some very, very cold weather, so most of the ground is pretty frozen and you can see there is still ice and whatnot. Oh yeah, it's pulling out, that's good. Oh, it's pulling out, that's good. Some of it might be, too frozen. Yeah, these ones on the edges are not as much. I think what I might do is just make a pile and then bring the wagon down and bring it over as piles, but we'll start getting it cleaned up. But if you're new to my channel, this sort of thing is completely unheard of for me. I'm a jazz and blues singer and a vocal coach. Well, you can slice my bread and butter my toast. Fill up my plate, come on, be a good host. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Woo. Let's get it on. That's what I do. And when the lockdowns came, I couldn't do either. And I have a big family and all adult children who I call cadults. And at that time, they were all living with me. I had a lot of cadults. And there was a lot of people to feed. And so that's when I started growing because as a young mom, I absolutely loathed gardening. And I mean loathed gardening. Ugh. But there was something really cathartic and something really rewarding to go out and grow food. My yard was full of perennial shrubs and things like that. I didn't even have like any spot. And to be honest, when I first bought the house, any place that there was soil, I was like, put grass there. It's easier to mow. Less for me to have to weed. And I used to have in my flower beds, weeds that would grow up this high. I would be overwhelmed with trying to pull them to deal with the weeds. Ground is very frozen. But I grew some things in pots, and if I did have a shrub that had a little spot, I would just plant a few things in there. And I did turn over, like there was a section of grass and I went, well, let's turn it into a little bit of a garden. When you first start tasting fresh grown vegetables from your garden, or you provide an entire meal with the exception of the protein, all full of your vegetables that you've grown, you feel pretty proud. And you know what's in all that food. There's no chemicals, nothing in there. So I just started small. And then little by little, if you get to look back at my channel, you'll see how my front boulevard was all just grass, but really weeds, that I got to mow. And I turned that one of my little slug bait cups. And I turned that entire boulevard into raised beds and started growing. And, you know, and it just kept getting better. And then this offsite garden came to me 2 years ago from the people that own the blueberry farm. They go, we're not using it. Do you want to use it? So I get to use this whole plot for free. And it's just like, I'm so grateful. Okay, I think we're done with this section. I had thought about bringing a shovel out again while I was driving. Oh, Maureen, you should bring this. You should do that. But if you watch some of last year's videos, it was like I started to have to make a checklist because usually there was something that I would forget. These are all squashes and the self-seeding barrage. There's actually a little frozen spaghetti squash here. So again, we'll put it in that pile over there. And I do see a couple of onions that have popped up. We've got another leftover squash here, so I'm sure he'll leave some seeds, even though this is the potato patch. But I really want to encourage people to grow something, because you see in the stores just how expensive vegetables and things are. And the quality of them, of course, is downgraded. And so just to even plant yourself a pot of lettuces, that's kind of how I started. 3 romaine lettuces, or 4 of them in a good sized pot. That's very inexpensive. And lettuce, of course, is a cut and come again. So you would pull off the leaves that you need for your salad or for your sandwich. And then it's just going to continue to grow in the cooler weather. So I feel like it's my mission to really encourage people to grow something. And I know if you're anything like me, you know, you're saying, I don't have a green thumb, I can't keep anything alive. And there is an aspect of truth to that. But if it was just one pot and you have it in a location where you can always see it, if it's, you know, needs water, needs food and things like that, and just to get your feet wet with just something small like that, where you're eating good, nutritious salads where the nutrients are still in the lettuce. It wasn't harvested, you know, a month ago and then traveled all over the world before it gets to your plate. There's so much ice underneath. So this is the last of it for this row. Then I can kind of feel like I got somewhere. There is a bit of grass there, but it's like one row has been weeded. Yay! Now I'd like to take care of all the garden cloth that's against the fence and kind of whatever else that's along the fence there. Okay, so it looks like you are attached over this way, because that poo-poo juice bin is there. And then you are attached this way. It is kind of nice having the ground frozen, because then I'm not sinking over my boots. Oh yeah, some of these smaller ones would be easier to do. Oh yeah, there's a clip. That was what my concern was, is knowing whether there was a clip. It's not a clip, it's a stake. That's what it is, so that I could stake it down. Because at this time of year, as it thaws, it's good for me to keep the soil covered, because I don't do the ground because it's so frozen. All right, we'll put it back in. Please stay here till the ground is softer. So no staking up today. Oh, lots of little bugs. My chickens would love it in there. Oh yeah, let's just look at the holes. Yep, so this one is from over here too. All right, one of the lids and a cuppet. Oh, I was wondering about this one here. This was just a big giant tub for the slugs. So I had wondered about this one because it was so big, and it was like, you know, there's not much left to cover. What this was the roll. Yeah, that's why it's That's why it's so big. Yay! I'm gonna leave it for a few minutes to see if I can get it to thaw out before I try rolling it. Another cup, broken one, good for recycling, and another lid. So I think I was talking about why I use the garden cloth. It's not my favorite thing to use. I don't have the time or the ability to put cover crops. And also because the water table is so high under the garden, it floods, which is why there is so much ice up above here. So the garden cloth is actually helping me to suppress all the weeds, because this bed, it had been fallow for quite a few years. So it was rich with nutrients because it was just growing the weeds. So it was doing its job. And so everything just grows beautifully here. But the amount of weeding that has to get done is just tremendous. So we're using the garden cloth to suppress the weeds. And as you can see, there are no weeds in here. Last year, I didn't plant a whole lot in this area, and the weeds were all about this tall. To see a weed-free garden space, it's like the ground cover is the way we're going. And then in the gullies, because we had to dig these gullies up so that it wasn't so muddy, and they will dry out sooner than the rest. You know, those gullies, as you saw, had ice in them. I put coffee sacks in all the gullies. I think we'll leave you guys down underneath there because you can just decompose. I won't pick you up. I do question myself about, do I go and lay all these out without clips? And I don't have anything to stake it with at this point. So it would just, you know, their chances of blowing in the wind are really high. But we're getting it done. Getting some of it done. You know, I'm not going to try to move those straw bales because they are so heavy with water right now. That's bring a wagon and bring a friend. Okay, what do you look like? I think I had a piece over there on that first bed, so I might just do that. Oh, I've got coffee sacks. As long as they're not all frozen together, these will act like a weight. Yeah, they are a bit frozen, but then if we get rains, they mostly will stay put. So that's gonna work out great. They're coming off pretty good, and the worm life is just excellent. Look at this. The worms are actually in the coffee sacks as well. But check this out. Look at the worm life in here. They're just fantastic. And of course, if you've been following me for a while, you know that the slug life is also really fantastic. And this will be year 2 for the war on slugs. I plan to be using some of the wood ash and biochar that I get from baking sourdough bread in my Forno oven. I'm planning to bring that out because Howie from Food Forest Permaculture, he swears by it. He goes, all my neighbors have slugs, he has none. So Mama is going to be stocking up on her wood ash. I'll just take a few at a time. Are you gonna come with me, or are you still stuck in this soil? Nope. You're coming. Well, the ones that are here in the soil, they're tearing apart, but it's still weight nonetheless. I wouldn't be able to carry much more. That'll work. I'm probably gonna just leave the tomatoes for now. We'll come back and do them maybe with Marissa. And I really want to encourage you to take some time to grow something for yourself and your family. Something small, something that you like to eat, and give yourself some good health and nutrition, and save some money on your pocketbook. Be sure to like and subscribe by clicking that notification bell so that you don't miss what the transformation is going to be of this garden. So I only have a couple more to do here, so you don't need to continue to hang out with me, but I sure do enjoy your company. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care. God bless.